There's a pandas warning that comes up very often for me that in fall quarter when I was teaching this class, it came up all the time. Somehow it hasn't come up so often in this winter quarter, but let me show you how it shows up. So I have the Spotify data set uploaded. So let me read that in. I'll say df equals pandas read CSV Spotify data set. And then I'll tell it how to recognize the null values. And this is specific to this particular data set where they're denoted within one single space as a string. Okay, and let's check the shape of this. Okay, good. And let's remove the null values. So this identifies them and puts them as numpy.nan, but it doesn't remove them. So let's use this method that Thurman pointed out to me. So I'll use df dot drop na, and then I'll say in place equals true. And the fact that this does not print anything out is a sign that I did it correctly. If I had done df equals this, it might look like it worked, but that would not work. That would get rid of the whole data frame. So, okay, now let's see what the shape is. So you can see that 11 of the rows have been removed, okay, but none of the columns. Okay, perfect. And so there's this column called chord that indicates what key the piece of music is in. And I want to eventually do some classification for what is the key. And I'd also like to be able to visualize it. So I don't want to have all 12 or whatever of these chords. I want to just have a few of them. So let me do dot value counts to see which ones are the most common. So you can see that C sharp, D flat is the most common, then C, then B. So maybe I'll do these first four. And if I want to get those first four, I can say :4 here. Okay, which is like saying give me the 0th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but not the 4th. Okay, good. And then there's this weird thing where if I ask is B in here? Okay, it will say true. Okay, but if I say df.chord is in, okay, I see a bunch of falses, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But if I take the sum of this, it says 0. So there's this weird thing where if you're just using this by itself with in, then in works. But if you're using it with is in, then it does not work. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say dot index. And you can see that there are about 800 or so, a little less, of these total values. So this dot index, it says, don't give me the values for this pandas series. Instead, give me the index for this pandas series. Okay, and then let me put that dot index in here. And I hope that this sum is similar to what I set up here. Yeah, I guess I added it wrong, but 646. Okay, that's good. So let's see, let me copy this. And let me look at it without the sum. So you can see I have true, true, false, true. And if I look at just the top 5 rows of the data frame, and I scroll all the way over to the chord, here, true, true, false, true. So yes, yes, no, yes, as far as was it in my list or not. Okay, so all I want to do now is keep those rows. So I want to keep the rows where there's a true in this. So I want to keep all the rows where the chord is in among one of these 4 possible values. So let me copy this. And then I'll say df square brackets, then this Boolean series. So you can see it kept the 0th, kept the first, didn't keep the second. And there should only be 4 total values in this chord column now. Okay, good. And let's name this as df2. And then let me try to make a new column in df2. Let me call it pred for prediction. And then here, let me just put nothing yet. So np.not a number. Okay, and this is the whole point of this video, is this warning. And the part of it that I feel like I can understand the best, like of these 5 lines, I think the only line I understand a little bit is this one. So it says a value is trying to be set on a copy of a slice from a data frame. So what's that talking about? Well, when I do this square brackets and then a Boolean series, that's taking a slice of the data frame. So that's like slicing so that it just keeps the 0th and 1st, but didn't keep the 2nd, then kept the 3rd, didn't keep the 5th, 6th, or 7th, and so on. So that's what it means by slice. And then this thing, df2 equals, that is what it's called a copy of a slice. And so if I want to avoid it, like this is probably where my explanation gets a little worse, but this is the way to fix it anyway. You add a dot copy. And so this is saying, I don't want it to be related to the original data frame df anymore. And I guess I really meant to call it something else. I'll call it df3. And so now let's try to do the same thing. And now you can see that there's no warning. So the whole point is, if you want, you can either just ignore these warnings. I don't think I've ever had one cause a serious issue. Or probably a better way is to like intentionally use this dot copy when you're taking a slice of a data frame. Okay, we'll apply this sort of copied data frame idea in the next video.